Okay, and in terms of, okay, so maybe you guys will evolve in that direction. You can cut, right?
Yeah.
Eventually. I just had a question for you guys just when you said that, and okay, so and mainly you sing in English, right?
Yeah.
So, and do any of you speak Spanish at all? One?
I understand. I have most broken Spanish ever. I'm kind of embarrassed to.
It's still.
Okay, we'll cut that part then. I'm just kidding. That's gonna be the first part. Right, so I don't speak Spanish.
We actually had a conversation about us or him singing in Spanish.
You have to understand, like, for a lot of Hispanics that grew up in Texas, it was different for Hispanics that grew up in California. Because when I was growing up, my grandfather never made it a thing to teach me Spanish because it was illegal for you to speak Spanish in schools, and you automatically went to trade schools. Like, there was a lot of horrific activities and atrocities that were done to people who just solely for speaking Spanish. I mean, it's Texas. You got these rich Republican people who just didn't want anything to do about it. So by the time my dad was growing up, he had just learned like the suburb culture and what was going on. So by the time I was born, like, it was never really a lesson to be taught,
right?
Spanish.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, I mean, I think, utterly it's something that I missed out on, and now that I can understand Spanish. As a matter of fact, my mom's from Mexico. She's actually from Monterrey, and when I was in the 3rd grade, my mom and my dad had separated, and she took me to go to school in Monterrey. And I had the hardest time there. I could do the work, I just couldn't communicate with people. Right. And I lived there for 6 months.
Okay. And so, would you say then? Do you guys listen to any Spanish? Like,
yeah.
You could put on the Dead Kennedys album, and then you could put on a Ramon Ayala album. We'll still love to see.
Yeah.
We'll still act the same way.
That's good. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and it is interesting. That's why I posed that question because Texas is notorious. I mean, at least for us Californians.
I was, my parents are from Mexico, but English is actually my second language. I grew up with Spanish first because my dad always moved from Los Angeles to San Antonio. So like, I have 7 sisters, so like all of them were either born here or there. So like in my early years, I was kind of raised here too. So here it's very well accepted. So
right.
It was easy.
So then let's go back then to like now your cumbia influences, and so in cumbia you're gonna sing English cumbias?
No,
that's the interesting part too, because I'm 29 years old, and I grew up mostly like away from San Antonio. So my father was in the military. So that's the interesting thing is, if I can get to know myself and my culture and my language, then that'd be something awesome to be able to learn and be reacquainted with in a way.
Right. Well, it sounds like your culture is pretty well alive in San Antonio.
Oh yeah.
There's Mexicanos everywhere.
Yeah.
Tex-Mex thing is like pretty, predominant in a lot of ways. So that in itself is interesting. And I asked this because I know that for a fact that Texas is starting to get a lot of Latin alternative artists and and then a lot of artists from here from California and even Texas going to Mexico for tours and stuff. So it's that's the cool part of the interchange in music and fluidity, I guess you should say, and there's a lot of Mexicans here that don't speak Spanish, it's just a thing, it happens, so it's not.
Sometimes it's the parents, they don't want to teach it to you because they want to talk about something in Spanish and not you understanding. That's how at least my parents got it.
All the C words and all that.
We never quickly
caught along.
All right, well that's good. So we wish you great luck in everything you do, and go out and check out Latin alternative bands that come from Mexico City, Texas. Like in Cambria going to be at the Tex-Mex Fest or the Tex Fest, because Texas seems to put Tex in front of everything.
They always do that. I don't know what that is.
Carla Morrison and La Santa Cecilia, who's a band from Los Angeles. And did you guys ever see La Santa Cecilia?
Yeah, they come to San Antonio pretty often.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's how I actually met Gloria and and the others.
Yeah, and what do you think about La Santa Cecilia? Just in terms of like an LA band going there and
They are really
They're really
talented.
good.
They
They're
are
nice,
really
they're nice
talented
people too. I have them
band.
all on Facebook, and they're really cool people. Though.
yeah, they're really nice people. But in terms of like their music, because they have some
music's
cumbia
good.
influences
Yeah, it's
in
good.
there too, and
I think, in all honesty, I think they're really onto something. They have a certain sound that it's just like it's got like a certain edge and authenticity to it. And I mean, anybody walking down the street who would hear that, they would automatically want to come in and check it out. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
that's my impression of them.
right.
It's that Khalifa sound. I like it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Very cool. So guys, what's next? So how long ago did Viet Ruse, this album, Parabellum come out?
Yeah, it just turned a year.
A year?
Yeah, we released it around actually this month last year.
Oh, very cool. And any plans for a future album? Collaborations or anything?
Well, this is our second album, so in the future, yes, we're hoping that in the future, our direction with our music and our album is just going to be totally different. Just
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe cut an EP or something.
That'd be
Something
very
we
cool.
can put on vinyl. It's something we haven't done yet.
Yeah, vinyl's
Something different.
really,
Instead of releasing it, just something totally brand new on vinyl.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
right, very cool. Well then when you guys are in Texas, I hope you guys get to meet some, Mexican bands, because they're really cool in Mexico. They just,
That would be awesome.
there's like
Oh, yeah.
people for everything over there, so, that's really
Because
cool.
we would like to play down there, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, one day.
Well, you're right next door.
Yeah.
You just hop in and skip away. So, and you guys are in Southern California. You did Santa Monica, San Diego,
In Oakland.
Oakland. How was that? How were those shows for you guys?
It was good.
Yeah, did you open for Anglo bands, punk bands or anything like that, or was it?
In Oakland, it was a punk band, but they were all Mexican guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that was cool.
There's a big punk scene in San Francisco and Oakland.
yes.
Very big.
Yeah. So that's very cool. So then you went to San Diego, you played, and anything particularly strike you as interesting here in California by any chance?
I would have to say the culture in general, but I mean, I just love walking down the streets. It's just a different feeling, It's not like, in Texas. I will add though, I made the mistake by not bringing a jacket. I just thought that,
But the sun always comes out in California.
Yeah, I
right?
know, yeah.
See what I mean?
I wasn't anticipating the weather, and I was like, what?
Very good.
Yeah.
And do you guys have a website, or Facebook, or Twitter?
Vietruse.com.
Vietruse.com. Any Facebook, vietruse.com? Very cool.